This is my first ever PechaKucha, or whatever this is. So I'm just here to learn. Hit the button. My pathway, the first 60 seconds, this is going to be terribly dull because it's about the first 29 years of my career, which started here at the Georgetown Law Library, where I graduated in 1991. Yes, lawyer, thank you very much. I immediately moved into working in the internet space. I worked for an internet software company and started doing internet-related stuff, cyber-related stuff, all sorts of crazy stuff. So about 10 years after graduating from this place, I looked like the young guy on the left. 25 years after graduating from that place, I looked like the older guy on the right. But all the time I was doing stuff related to internet, but it was all sort of lawyery. And in the middle of this, I started lecturing at a university on legal and regulatory aspects of cybersecurity at Royal Holloway, University of London, which is right there in Egham, Surrey. And in that process, I got commissioned by the UK government to write about legal and regulatory aspects, which means I thought I knew about it. Well, then my career took a turn in September of 2020. I took a very radical turn to work for someplace different, someplace new, someplace called ISC. And that looked something like this. Because we sell DNS and DNS accessories. You know, we're a root server operator. We operate froot, and we run and we develop bind 9, and we give it away to the world for free. And there I am, standing confused on the far left-hand side, general counsel of this organization, everybody knowing more than I know. One of the things I had to get to grips with very, very quickly is what I like to call ICANN governance bingo. And the truth is, I actually made a couple of these up, but most of them were real. And on the lower right-hand side came up DNS abuse, and I thought, DNS abuse? I've been running around this space for 29 years, and I've never heard of DNS abuse. What the hell is that? So maybe it's something that could hurt us if we take too much of it. Maybe it's something that we have to worry about or go to rehab for if we're taking too much DNS. We're victims of DNS abuse. Or maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something that needs to be cared for, that needs to be nurtured, that needs protection, that needs to be buoyed up. There's something that we don't want it to be mistreated because a protocol is for life, not just for Christmas. There's RFC 1034 sitting in a little Santa hat. Oh, it'd be cute. But after drifting in and out of meeting rooms, in and out of ICANN meetings, other places, all labeled with DNS abuse, I could not for the life of me figure out what in the world are they talking about? What's the common thread that runs through this? And what you can't see there, of course, is you'll keep using that word. I do not think it means what I think it means. So I was trying to figure out, okay, why? So I started doing some digging. I figured the one skill I've got is actually legal research. So I'm going to start researching where the hell did this term come from? And it turns out a buzzword is born. As near as I can tell, in 2010, an ICANN group was talking about registration abuse. But by 2016, an ICANN policy research group talked about DNS abuse. And as time passes, you can see that meaningfulness and utility decreases. The definition of this term goes from something which is almost understandable to the European Commission coming out in 2022, just last year, and saying this: any activity makes use of domain names of the protocol to carry out harmful or illegal activity. Oh my God in heaven! What does that not include? I mean, seriously. I sat down and I started thinking about what does that not include, and I came up with this. Well, it's any use of the internet unless you're only using IP numbers or you're taking an internet-connected device to assault somebody with it. You're hitting someone over the head with a connected server. Well, that's use of the internet for harmful legal activity. It would not be. But every other thing on the face of the planet gets shoved into this definition based on where they're going now. So in terms of ICANN, of course, ICANN, a model of clarity, says on the one hand, there is no consensus definition for DNS abuse, and on the other says, let's spend a whole day in Da Nang talking about DNS abuse. What are you talking about? We don't know, we have no definition for it, but we're going to spend a whole day on it because it's policy development. Oh my God in heaven. So, when you dig in, you find that the people in this space really get down to the big five: malware, botnets, phishing, farming, and spam. What does that have to do with abusing DNS? All right, farming, I get it. DNS poisoning, I get it. Someone else called DNS tunneling, which they don't even talk about. These are the big five, and PIR actually has an entire institute dedicated to studying DNS abuse, which nobody knows what it means. Does any of this matter? It does, because of this guy. George Lakoff, the man in the frame, came up with the idea of framing language. What does it mean to frame language? Framing language means that you put something in a way that it presupposes how you're supposed to interpret it. And one of my favorites is this, identity theft. Something else that doesn't exist, by the way. There's no such thing as identity theft, but look, someone's reaching through the screen to grab this poor woman's card. Clearly it's identity theft. Clearly he's stealing something from her identity. Well, an identity token, surely. But no, he's stealing her identity. I thought we just called that bank robbery. The guy's going to take the payment card and use it to rob a bank. But instead of calling it bank robbery, we call it identity theft. Did you ever wonder what PR firm came up with that play? This is a PR term. It's a marketing term, not a legal term. I guarantee you this. I tell my students this every year. Because Lakoff tells us framing is about getting language that fits your worldview. The ideas are primary. It evokes those ideas. It brings people into a frame. The point is, metaphors matter. Metaphors matter. Labels matter. Consider, for example, what this means. In a bank robbery, we understand intuitively the victim is the bank. What's the message? The bank needs better security. With identity theft, the assumption is the victim is me. And what's the message? Well, I clearly need more skills because I'm the kind of idiot who gets my identity stolen. It shifts responsibility. We have perfectly good names for the things that are called identity abuse. Farming, botnets, malware, all this sort of stuff. We should be using them and not using a generalized label that shifts our understanding of what these things are, called DNS abuse, which doesn't exist. It doesn't matter. It's a made-up term, made up by policy people. Why is this dangerous? Because if you have a variety of problems, you need a variety of solutions. But if we can push everything into a box called DNS abuse, here's the risk. We're going to end up with one solution, a DNS solution. Oh my God, a technical solution. And in that, ladies and gentlemen, are the seeds that could sow the destruction of the internet as we know it.